Hey, I'm Shaq with Rock 102. I'm not a chef, and I didn't go to any fancy cooking school. I'm just a regular guy that likes to cook. It's Cooked with Shaq. I'm Shaq from Shaq and Watson on Rock 102, and we've got a great show lined up for you with some great recipes that anybody can cook. That's what this whole show is all about. I've been cooking since I was about 5 years old. Every Sunday morning, cooking French toast with my mom, and I've been cooking ever since. And I love it. It's fantastic. And, you know, I've been cooking so much with different foods and different types of foods that my friends were even asking me, you know, why don't you get a cooking show sometime? Well, I got one. We're good to go. And you know what? I even got a music guy. Give it up for Harrison James of the Harrison James Band. Let's hear it, man. Let's hear it. Let's do this. Nice. And also, what we plan on doing with this show is to promote local bands. You're going to be hearing some segments and some clips of songs from Penny Rain. They've got an EP out. It's a great local band. You're going to love them. All right, let's get to some cooking. So, you like chicken?
Love chicken.
Okay, we're going to do a chicken Mediterranean dish for you tonight with lightly coated chicken. It's going to be sauteed. Then we've got some capers with olives and tomatoes and onions, and it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be basil in there as well. You're going to love this. We're also going to do a real man's pie, okay? We've got bacon, potato, cheddar cheese pie. Are you okay with that?
Loving the pie.
All right, let's get to it. And we also have a Jamaican rum dessert that we're going to do for you as well a little bit later on. Okay, let's start it off. All right, we're going to start off with the bacon, potato, cheddar cheese tarts, which takes a little while to do, but you know what? This is fantastic. You're going to love this. Okay, you start off with a non-stick pie pan. Now, you take the bacon. Now, again, you got to be creative with it. You're going to have some fun, but you start off by putting in the bacon just like this. Hang over about half the bacon off the end of the pan, and you just keep on doing this. Now, in order for it to get nice and even, you kind of make yourself a little bit of a cross first. Do you have any bacon music?
Always have
Harrison?
bacon music.
Let's hear some bacon music here. Let's get this going. All right. Done now. Like I said, we've been, it's kind of like art class, okay? Look at this. It looks kind of like a great big bacon star or a bacon octopus or something. But keep going. Just keep going until all the bacon is gone and that you have pretty much the bottom of the pan completely covered, because you're going to want to have all of the potatoes sitting right inside of that. Another thing you want to do too is just kind of squish it down here. See, that feels good, eh? Just stick your hand right in there. Just give it a good squish. See, that's what cooking is all about. It's having fun, being creative. Okay, all right, now what we're gonna do, we got a nice hot pan. So we want to have some sauteed onions, a little bit of olive oil. That's what I like to do. Grab a spatula. I also like to, you know, just chuck in a little bit of butter too, because butter's always good, especially when you got bacon. Hey, you need a little bit more of that grease going on. All right, so now what we do is we're just going to put that off to the side for a second, and we go to the mandolin. I love the mandolin. Now, you know why? Because it makes life a whole lot easier when you are chopping. You're not sitting there for days chopping up onions or potatoes or anything like that. So what you do is you peel off an onion. Oh boy, this is a strong onion. Whew. Starting to get some tears going on here. You got onion? You got some onion chopping music there?
Definitely do.
All right, let's see it. Oh no. Yeah, I've got the tears coming out of my eyes. Sad onion music cutting song.
Nice you're crying, man.
All right, okay, this is what we have now. Instead of using the knife now, this is where it gets simple. You want to make cooking as easy as humanly possible. So put your knife down. I know it's, you want to be a man, you want to be chopping. Well, this is the way to go here. We got something called a mandolin. Watch this. Watch how fast this is going to cut. Okay, ready? Instead of chopping, we slice with the mandolin. Here it comes. Take a look at that. Okay, now be careful. Don't cut your hands off. I really should be using a guard when I'm doing this. If you're going to be using a mandolin, make sure you use a guard. But you know what? Sometimes guards just get in the way. There, check it out. Beautiful. slices, it dices, it julienne fries. Now, you've got your hot oil, you're good to go. Take your onions right in there. You always want to season up your onions a little bit, so take a little pinch of salt. Also some pepper, because onions need a little bit of seasoning just to bring out their flavor, and also helps the caramelization as well too. So now we're going to just let these go for a little bit. Make sure you watch them though, because they will burn if you have the pan too hot. So those are looking pretty good right now. You can do the little flip to it. This is the chef flip. But actually you want them spread it around in the pan so that they get equal cooking time. Put your oven to 350. Do it right now. And once we get all this assembled, we are going to put it in there for about 2.5 hours. I know it's going to take a long time, but you're going to love it when it's done. If you have a convection oven, you can do it for half the time. So we're going to get to that. All right, now the cheese. We do need the cheese. So, again, the easiest way to do cheese, if you're going to shred cheese, stick it in the food processor. All right, here we go. Watch this. I love this. This is fantastic. You know the graters, you sit there and do this? Forget about it. Watch this. And fire in the hole. Look at that. Look at that. Fire in the hole. And you're done. You've been sitting at that shredder for 3 or 4 hours by the time I get all this shredded up in the food processor. So that's how you do it. All right, we're back to the onions. They're looking pretty good. I think we can probably turn the stove off now. They're set to go. And we're about set to assemble this potato bacon cheddar pie. We're back right after this. Harrison James, everybody. Welcome back to Cooked with Shaq. I'm Shaq, and we are putting together today bacon potato cheddar pie. We are putting together a Mediterranean chicken breast, and we've got a Jamaican rum dessert that you're absolutely going to love. So right now, what we're going to do is put together this. It looks really weird right now. Okay, we got a pound of bacon inside a pie pan. Now it's non-sticks. You won't want it to stick in the oven because it's going to be in there for a long time. So we have a pound of bacon all spread out. Now we're going to start layering it. This is very technical, so all you have to do is just start putting it in. We've already chopped up the potatoes, sliced them nice and thin, keep them uniform. You don't want to have all kinds of different varied thicknesses because some won't cook properly, some will get mushy if they're too thin. So we're going to start off with potatoes. All right, so you take your potatoes and just put them in. You don't have to be very, precise about it. Just layer one layer of potatoes in there. And once you're done that, kind of figure it out so that you can fill up that one bottom. Press it down again, good, because you got to get that bacon in there real good, because you got to put a couple more layers in. Now what you do, take your tongs, grab some of the onions that you've caramelized. Ooh, they smell good. I love the smell of caramelized onions. So just put them in and just kind of move them around a little bit. They don't have to be, like I say, precisely everywhere. And just trying to get them in the corners a little bit, just so that each slice you have of this potato pie, you're going to get some onions in there with it. All right, so that's that. Now, we take the grated cheese. Ooh, look at this. Then you put the cheese down, and you get it all in there. Now, you get another layer of potatoes, and you keep doing that for about 2 layers. 3, if you got a deeper pie dish, no problem. You can put as many layers as you have potatoes and cheese. And you just keep on going. Got some layering music, Harrison? Because we're going to be here for a little while. You might as well
definitely
get
let's jam it out,
man. Let's do this. Let's do it. See, this is going to take even longer now because I'm dancing. All right. Okay, and then remember, just keep on pressing it down because you got that big lump of bacon at the bottom that's got a bit of a hill in there, so you want to make it as level as you can. So let's do one more layer. We're out of onions, but we still got cheese and potatoes, so let's put some more cheese in. Now, this is where it gets really funky, all right? Now we start throwing the bacon. Wrap the bacon back into itself over top of the pie and cover it up so that you got a nice little package of yummy, gooey, cheesy potato goodness. You don't have to be, very exact about it. Just get it over. So now it looks like a lot of bacon. You're going, oh my God, how can I eat that much bacon? But what happens is it bakes in the oven for, like I said, about 2.5 to 3 hours. Again, a convection oven, you can do it in half the time. But what happens is all the bacon renders down, and so it becomes very crisp. And the potatoes are nice and tender, and the cheese is all nice and ooey gooey. And what also happens is that the grease forms, and you pour the grease out afterwards. And so that if you don't have a whole bunch of absorption of bacon fat, you have enough to make it taste good, but you don't have it all laying there and saturated. Okay, so now what you also have to do is squish it down again. Here comes the last big squish. Get it all down there. Squish it all down. Okay, so now that it's nice and flat, we're gonna go. Can you give me some
Let's do that.
hand washing music? Because of course you gotta keep those hands washed when you're playing with meat. All right. I'll move this out of the road. Now, with your 350-degree oven, you're gonna take this, put it on top of a cookie sheet, just because if you do have any boil over of grease, you don't want a grease fire in your oven, okay? So it'll catch it on the cookie sheet. So in the oven for about 2.5 to 3 hours. Just let it cook at 350. It's gonna be great. Now we're gonna do the Mediterranean chicken. Okay, so let's get the chicken out. Chicken breast, regular chicken breast. Right here. Let's move the, want some cheese, Harrison?
Yeah, a little bit of cheese.
Okay, all right, we're gonna get in there. Beautiful, all right. We have the chicken breasts. Move the potatoes back here. Now, for each chicken breast, we use probably about a quarter. See, I never use measurements when I cook. So I'm thinking about a quarter cup of flour for each chicken breast, because we're gonna kind of shake and bake this thing, okay? So in the bowl, you have some flour, enough for the 3 chicken breasts. What we're gonna do in that is we're gonna put in something called herbe de Provence. Herbe de Provence is just a whole bunch of spices that are put together. They have thyme, marjoram, rosemary, oregano, basil, lavender, and all that stuff. But you know what? I'll give you a secret. Okay, come here, a little closer again. I'll give you a secret. It's called Italian spice. You can buy it in the spice aisle at your grocery store. Herbe de Provence, it's Italian spice. That's all you need to know. Okay, so we're gonna put some of that in. Now it's pretty powerful because it is dried, and that means the flavor is concentrated, so you don't want a whole lot. I would say probably about a tablespoon, and that's about a tablespoon. A little bit of salt and pepper, just to season it up a bit. Back to the pepper. Now, grab a spoon, or whatever you got. Holy, look at this, just flying. It's like I work in a drywall outfit or something. Okay, now, just use a regular Ziploc bag. Take your flour mixture, put it in the Ziploc bag. Real simple, isn't it? Nothing to this. Now, instead of handling the chicken with your fingers, you will take your tongs. In the bag it goes. Zip it up. Use a little bit of air in there. Some guys, like to squish they call it burping in the bag. Don't bother burping the bag. You need a little extra room in there. So you just do this. You have a little fun with it too. You just throw it over to your buddy. Oh no! Oh, look at that! Oh! Harrison, that's not the way it was supposed to work.
No, not at all.
You gonna be okay, bud?
I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
At least we got an instant replay of that. Nice work. Harrison James, everybody.
Thank you.
Good sport. He's my music guy, and obviously not a very good ball player either.
No,
okay.
I the guitar.
So we're back to lightly breading the chicken. So now what we do is put the pan in on a medium heat. Again, we're gonna have some olive oil in there. All right, we're gonna let those saute for a bit until they get nice and brown on either side. And then we'll start on the tomato, caper, olive mixture for the topping of this chicken. It's fantastic. So we're just going to throw a lid on the chicken so that we don't have a whole bunch of grease splattering everywhere. Because one of the basics of cooking, and I've been trying to teach my daughter this, every Sunday morning she makes French toast for us. And I try to teach her that one of the biggest rules of cooking is
keep a clean workspace.
Like she's taking that serious, right? Okay, here we go. So starting off with the tomatoes. Roma tomatoes, I use them all the time for a couple of reasons. Roma tomatoes don't have a lot of seeds in them, and they're very sturdy, so they hold together when you're cooking. Instead of using the mandolin this time, we're actually going to use a knife, cut off the ends, and we're gonna dice the tomatoes. Kind of keep them big so that you have something to chew on. Okay, so we got that. Tomatoes are ready to go. Gonna check on our chicken. See how that's going. All right, so it's gonna be a little while yet. Chicken's starting to brown up nicely. Now comes the fun stuff. This is where we put our olives and our capers in, and I get to use the mezzaluna. Yeah, the mezzaluna is an Italian chopper that they've used since the beginning of time. It's like the first, I would say, an Italian food processor. When these guys get going with this thing, it's unbelievable. So I just got this from my good buddy Watson for Christmas. So we're gonna try it out here today. We're gonna start off with a few olives. Not too many because they are salty and they do have a very distinct flavor. While you're at it, we might as well throw the capers in too. Like I said, the mezzaluna is like an Italian food processor. Not too many capers either. Again, they're salty, kind of briny. You have a distinct flavor, so you don't want to overpower the sauce. Watch this. See, I'm not Italian, so I don't really know how it works as well as an Italian would probably do this. See, I got a runaway olive already, but you see how this thing, look at this. You just go. Do you have any Italian music? Do some Italian, something like we're in a cafe in Venice or something. Very nice, very nice. Mezzaluna chopping right there. Now, if you want to see that in instant replay, you can do that as well too. So we've got our tomatoes, we've got our olives and our capers chopped up, we've got our chicken frying. We're gonna add the basil, fresh basil in at the last minute because we want the fresh basil taste in it. And we're gonna put it all together when we come back. Harrison James on guitar, good sport.
Thanks, it happens.
A little dusty, but you're
Yeah.
okay. All right, we're back with Cooked. I'm Shaq, and we're working on the chicken Mediterranean dish that we've got. We're gonna work on the tomatoes, capers, and olives that we're gonna put on top of the chicken breast in just a couple of minutes. But first, I think we gotta get the bacon, potato, cheddar tart out of the oven. Let's do this. It's ready to go. It's been baking away. Now, look at that. Is that fantastic or what? So remember all the bacon that we used? We used an entire pound of bacon on there. Now it's a beautiful little package of ooey gooey cheese, potatoes, fried onions, and bacon. Now it's gonna be a tart. We're gonna flip this, watch this. We take a plate. This is always a little bit tricky because this is hot, 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 hot. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Let me just grab my other pot holder. Now, this is always tricky. You always pray that it's gonna flip, that it's gonna come out of the thing. That's why I use nonstick. Here we go. Listen. There it is. It popped. Take a look at that. Ooh! Is that nice or what? I mean, that's like a man. It's a man fruitcake right there.
It is.
It is. I mean, bacon, potato, cheddar. It's all there. Okay, so that's looking fantastic. We're gonna cut that up in a bit. But now we've got our olive oil ready to go. We're gonna put all the tomatoes in. Tomatoes go in. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's put it all in. There it goes. The olives, capers, and tomatoes. All right, those are gonna fry up. And we also have to get our garlic. So we take our little garlic shredder, I guess you call it. It's a microplane. That's the fancy chef way of calling it, a shredder. Anyway, so let's do this. Shred it all up real nice. 1 clove of garlic. Booyah! The great thing about this is that you just have to warm it through. You don't have to cook it up and cook it down so that everything's all mushed together. Just warm it through and you're good to go. So let's pepper this up. Lots of pepper. Now, the last thing you want to do with this is put in the basil. The reason why is because fresh basil has such a great fresh taste, and if you leave it in too long, it starts to lose that taste, starts to lose that freshness. You can still taste basil, you just can't taste how fresh it is and how clean it is. Let's get right in there. Mezzaluna time. And again, coarse chop. Doesn't have to be fancy. Good to go. Now this will wilt down a little bit once it hits the heat, so that's why you don't have to have it all really small. Okay. Let's flip that around a little bit more. Just let it go for a bit. Look at that nice big plump piece of breast. Let that we got to give that one good, get a good heat on it, and give it a good flip like this. Just give it that fancy chef flip. It took me 10 years to figure this one out. All right, there. Now, it's done. Take a little bit of that Mediterranean tomato, basil, caper, olives. You have to just kind of let it drape down there. There you go. I'm getting all creative though on it. All right, that's it. That's it for that. Look at that. Now we go over here with our knife. Dig right in to this bacon, potato, cheddar, freaking goodness. Look at that. Huh? Smell-o-vision? You wish you were here. Huh? Camera guy, want some? Would you like some? You have to wait. Take a look at that. Now you just put that with your chicken and you're good to go. That is Mediterranean breast of chicken. That is bacon, potato, cheese, pie. Now, of course, the basil and the tomatoes, that's the healthy part of the meal. You're getting healthy, right? It's okay. Don't eat this all the time. Just moderation. You're gonna love it. Now, when we come back, we've got the dessert of all desserts. You're gonna love this, and it takes seconds to make. Harrison James, everybody, from the Harrison James Band. He's my music guy on the new cooking show with Shaq. It is called Cooked. Today we have done potato, bacon, cheddar cheese, fried onion pie. Take a look at that masterpiece. Is that a beaut or what? Combine that with some Mediterranean chicken breast. That is made with tomatoes, basil, capers, olives, onions. There's a little bit of olive oil in there, and of course, it is lightly breaded breast of chicken. Melt in your mouth, fantastic. Now to top it all off, you want to have a great dessert, right? Who doesn't like rum? Who likes rum? Everybody like rum? Camera guy, you like rum? You like rum, Harrison.
Of course.
I know you're a rum guy, right?
I'm a musician.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna have a rum apple dessert for you. So we're gonna start things off with the apples. Now what we've done is we've taken 3 peeled apples already, put them in some water with a little bit of lemon juice so they don't oxidize and turn brown. That's one of the things. Get one of these funky things because again, you don't want to sit there and have to chop the thing out and get the core, and it just takes a long time. This is a core sectional apple, top of the line, high-tech cutter. Watch this, but you gotta line it up right. Okay, watch this. Whammo, it's done. Just like that. And whammo. Number 2. And action. There it is. Yes. Nice. Okay. We got our apples ready to go. If you want to cut them up a little bit smaller, you can. So, for instance, if you want to slice them a second time to make them a little bit thinner, that's fine. If not, just leave them the way they are. Now, we got the saute pan ready to go. We got our spatula. Grab some butter. That much? Hey, that much? Should I go with that?
Sure.
Boo, there it is. Let's do a little bit more. It's gonna be a buttery, fun, gooey, caramely mess, but it's gonna be good. All right, so now we got the sizzling butter. Let's go right over to the cutting board, grab all of our apples. Apples goes in. This is gonna take just a few seconds. Now it takes a little while, just a little bit, for the apples to start to cook down a little bit. Let's move that around, and we'll just let them simmer away and bake away. All right, these apple slices have been sauteing now for about 5 minutes or so. As you can see, they got a nice caramelization going on there, but this is just the start. Watch this. Okay, and we're going to take some brown sugar. Pop the brown sugar right in there. That is probably about maybe 3 to 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm gonna move that around a little bit. Get everything all nice and coated in there. All right, these are good to go. I'm gonna throw a little bit of cinnamon in, just a pinch. Remember Mom's apple pie, right? This is kind of what you're gonna get. Now comes the big one. Anybody for some Jamaican rum?
Definitely.
Now, you always have to have your lighter ready to go. Hang on a second, let's just make sure this thing's gonna work. No. Cameraman, you got a lighter? You got a light? Oh, perfect, excellent. Thanks, bud, excellent. All right, so, here we go, caramelizing the apples. Here comes some rum. I'm gonna pour in a little bit of, as much as you want, but just be careful now. Let that rum heat up a little bit. Look out, folks, because we got Kiss in the house. Whoa! Hey, whoa! Whoa! Now that was the biggest one I've seen since I've been doing this. Be careful. Make sure you're wearing protective eyewear, asbestos suit, whatever. Just be careful when you're doing this, but you need to do it. So let that go, and it gets all nice and gooey. All the alcohol burns off, and you're left with rum, apple, brown sugar caramel. Oh, it's unbelievable. Nice vanilla bean ice cream. Big old honkin' scoop, just like that. 2 scoops? 2 scoops, cameraman? Okay. There you go. Take a look at this. Put the apples right on top like that. Take some of that ooey, gooey goodness. You do a little drizzle like that. Look at how the ice cream is melting under the heat of those apples and caramel. It's like a big sloppy mess of ice cream and rum and sugar and apples in there. Fantastic. Now, if you want a little bit of texture in here, kind of like an apple crisp, we got the perfect thing for you too. Some good friends of mine, Craig and Trent, they have a company called Chew It, and they make this awesome oatmeal product that you can have as a porridge. You can do whatever you want with it. I like to sprinkle it on top of incredibly great desserts. So what you do is you take some of it, look, it's got some blueberries in there, it's got some dried cranberries, some almonds, and you just give it a little bit of the oatmeal mix right on top, and you've got a nice, chewy goodness. It's just unbelievable. And there it is. Oh, one more thing before we go. You gotta have some Parmesan cheese on the Mediterranean chicken. There it is right there. And if you want to be fancy, just put some all over the plate. Just do that, and you're good to go. Everybody's gonna love this when you make it, and that's one of the great things about cooking too, is that when people go, wow, that was freaking awesome, you feel good about it, and you're gonna try something different next time. I'm Shaq, this is Cooked. We'd like to thank Harrison James from the Harrison James Band. Are you coming back next time to do another one?
Definitely, I'll be here.
All right, let's do this. We'd also like to thank Penny Rain, local band here. When they're in town, make sure you see them because they also supplied some of the music for the show. They got an EP out. Check it out. I'm Shaq. This is Cooked. Thanks for joining me. We're back next time.